Well, there's sometimes I wake up in the morning and I feel like a starfighter. But but that's a story for another time, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. What's going on, party people out there in the universe? This is Big Baba Rob, your ever effervescent host of the Black Geeks podcast. And I have my illustrious geek brethren hanging with me today. Number one, first and foremost, we have the Potbelly Samurai. What's going on, man?
Good evening, peoples. Good evening.
Woohoo! Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So glad you are able to join us today. We also have the incomparable Mr. Big Sexy himself, ladies and gentlemen. We got King Face. What's going on, Face?
Just doing what I do in my velvet robe. Yes, this is velvet.
What's that, velvet?
It is velvet.
Can you do us a favor and button that up a little bit more?
Nope, you asked.
I asked for the Twilix. I ain't asked for the robe.
I said, I'm chilling. He's like, go ahead, Big Sexy. So I'm in my sexy moment, doing what I do.
Right now, you're kind of offensive. Without the Twilix, is offensive.
Nah, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Nobody want to see you, man. You look like a purple gorilla. Like, what's
that?
Nah,
nothing purple about me. Listen, all that hater coming over there from your side, just let it go.
Listen,
hate ain't never done nothing good for nobody, man.
Yeah, hate has done nothing for folks. Yeah, we definitely don't want to have any hate on this show. That's for doggone sure.
All I'm going to say is just don't go outside with that on, man. It might be open season. Like, you out there in Narnia, somebody might hunt you.
No, I'm in civilization using Narnia. We have to go to war.
It's like we pass by mythological creatures every time we go to your house. We have to pass through different dimensions. It's not cool.
Be like, gotta pull that way down in the jungle deep.
Basically, I get a gray hair every time I go out there. That's how long it takes to get there. It's like extra gray.
So true, so true. We are awaiting the arrival of Darth Kegonius. We think that he probably had a situation in the engine room at the Death Star, and we're sure that he'll show up at some point in time, or he just fell asleep and he'll join us whenever he wakes back up, which would be really interesting. So, because this show. Typically it's a roundtable, but tonight we're going to talk. We really want to talk about Star Wars tonight.
Now I'm gonna do it right now. This is not a spoiler-free show. Damn it! If y'all ain't seen the movie, get off right now because the spoilers is going to fly. If you don't leave now, and you haven't seen it. You're going to hate me. You're going to hate Rob. Really going to hate Face because we're going to go in and talk about it in granular detail. So this is the only warning y'all going to get. This is not the spoiler-free show. This is the month-old meat up underneath the couch spoilerific show. Got that?
Yep. This is that half a gallon of milk that you forgot was in the back of the refrigerator from last summer. That you like, what stinks? A carton of milk in the very back. It's all bloated.
Science fair spoilerific show.
That's
funky like toe cheese right now. Toe cheese.
Yeah, so we're going to get down with the spoilers, but this is the beauty of YouTube, because what you can do is you can stop watching this show right now. You can turn it off right now, and you can come back. Let's say you're going to see it on Tuesday. You can turn this show back on Wednesday, and you can start watching it. So this is the beauty of it. You can stop right now, and you're not going to miss anything. Other than the fact that if you're watching it live on YouTube, you can actually comment in the comments section like St. Clinton is, and we can actually talk about this joint. So feel free, if you want, just stop it right now. Just understand you won't be able to communicate with us, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But we've warned you, and once we start the conversation, we're going to get into it again. And we're going to warn you one more time. So just to warn you, this is because honestly, talking around this movie at this point it'll be a waste of a show. We might as well just stop the show altogether right now. So it is what it is. We're just going to roll with it. Okay, fine. All right. So usually, for those who have joined us for the first time, thank you so much for tuning into the Black Geeks Radio Show. Typically, that's old school, Black Geeks Podcast, the Black Geeks Podcast, I should say. Typically, we start off the show with Sith news, but since Darth Gekonius is nowhere to be found, maybe I should do news of the future. No, I'm just kidding. Let me.
Are you gonna do Negrodamus?
I can do my Negrodamus a bit. You know. Hey, look. I can pull up my hood and everything. I wore my hoodie tonight. Put on my hood. You know. No, let me not. Let me not go. I'm not gonna do news of the future.
I wonder where Gekonius is at though.
Whoa! You say his name? Who? Ladies and gentlemen.
The devil.
Darth Gekonius has joined. Good evening, Darth Gekonius. How are you this fine afternoon, evening?
I'm fine.
Finally got that teleporter to work. He just popped right in. Like, here we go.
Thank you for joining us.
Don't thank that Negro for being late.
Well, no, you know what? I mean, he had a choice. We all had a choice. And our watchers, our viewers, they also had a choice. They could have done lots of other things. They could have watched the rest of the Philly-Arizona game. Maybe there's some of them still are. But, you know, he made the time to be here. So, you know, I just want to be appreciative of his time. Gekonius, we're
appreciative of ours. More late and stuff. But I digress.
You digress. Gekonius.
Maybe you can grow up. Work on that.
Nah.
Punctuality, key to success.
So, Gekonius, do you want to start with Sith news, or you want to get right into the topics today?
Who needs Sith news? Let's get on into it.
All right.
Let's do Sith news. That's actually. Can we keep with the format of the show?
Then you do it.
Show format. It's not called Potbelly News, and even called Potbelly Window News. It's called Sith News.
Well, guess what? We're not doing it. So you can sit there and whine like a baby, or you can take that attitude, take a slice of humble pie, turn that son of a bitch sideways, and shove it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass. Now can we go on with the show? Thank you.
See, what that was called in political speak, that was called a pivot. What he did was pivot to the fact that he's not actually prepared to do Sith news. And he threw in a little comical flourish. Very nice.
No one asked you for that.
Never do Sith news, sucker.
We ain't doing no, ain't no more.
Just admit it. Admit it to the people. You ain't prepared. You ain't got your homework, do you, Craig?
I ain't admit nothing. I ain't done nothing.
We ain't got nothing left.
You ain't got your homework, Craig.
We ain't got nothing left but mashed potatoes and corn. So
we ain't got nothing. Ain't no more.
So I think
you see him scratching around his neck. Like, seriously.
All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and get into this Force Awakens. See, look here, folks. Let me tell you.
He got his lightsaber.
Look here. Just before we start this show, Dr. Coney has said to me.
Okay.
Before we start this show, Dr. Coney has said, "Don't embarrass yourself." And I'm gonna tell you, I went to the movie. I went to the movie with three grown ass men. He's sitting there fighting with lightsabers in the parking lot. Ain't nobody else sitting there fighting with lightsabers. But these three grown men.
Correction.
Hey, hold up.
Combat lightsabers.
Number one.
That are meant for dueling.
Because right now Rob's being a hater now. So number one,
get him.
Bob Rob's being a hater. So let's reflect on a few things. There wasn't just three grown men. There were four. There were four of us with lightsabers. Okay, who ran into two more grown men who wished they brought their lightsabers. Okay, so we weren't the only ones. As a matter of fact, I ran into two more in the bathroom that said, "Dang, I thought we couldn't bring our lightsabers." They said we couldn't bring it, and we was like, "Well, we just roll like that. That's why we brought our lightsabers. I wish they would tell us to not bring our lightsabers."
Because everybody called ahead, we just decided not to listen.
We
figured we'd see if they're gonna make us take them out to our car.
So I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going off the total of the people that I talked to. I think there was a total of 8 people that wish they brought their lifesavers.
Well, let's just face all the people dressed up.
Forget about the dudes
let's forget the people who was dressed up.
Videoing us as we was dueling. Like, did you see the dude with the slow creep that was
Yeah.
A guy actually slowed down in his car to see it.
Because he's like,
and let's not forget all the people who were dressed up. If we add all those people who are potentially wanted to bring their lightsabers but called in and listened to what the people said.
That's what I'm saying. There was a.
We're talking about it could have been about 50 lightsabers there.
So I say all of that to say, Bob Rob's being a hater, and if this was Transformers, he would have showed up with his Optimus Prime mask.
Look here. I don't show up to Transformers movies with my battle trailer, huh? I don't hook it up to the truck and roll up with my battle trailer, do I?
You would have came there with your Optimus Prime mask. You have one.
Look here. I do not have an Optimus Prime mask. I do have a Matrix of Leadership. I do have a Matrix of Leadership, but that's beside the point. Beside the point.
You don't have Optimus Prime mask now?
I do not have an Optimus Prime mask.
Bob and Rob do have theme music though. Like when he pulls out his Matrix of Leadership, like Journey starts to automatically play.
This is true. This is true. I do have theme music. Yes, you're absolutely.
So let's preface all his comments for those who are watching the show. That everything that come out of his mouth, preface it with the fact that he's not a Star Wars person. He's hating on those who are, and so that's the context.
Okay. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm gonna do this one time and one time only. This is what I feel about my experience.
Oh, the whole thing? Everything?
I'm done. That's all.
It made you jump, huh?
So
yeah, I jumped up at the end.
Let's also
I jumped up at the end of that movie. I'm sorry, I had to jump.
Let's also state for the record that Rob is also in the percentile of Americans who's never watched a TV before, because you're the only person in the world right now talking about Star Wars as wiggity 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 whack. Really? That's a little extreme. What do you think?
It was whack. It was a bit whack. It may be not.
Hold up.
It was a bit.
But you know what? It might have been a bit whack, but it wasn't whacker than James Bond. And it wasn't as whack as any of the Transformers that came out in the last 4 years.
Not even close.
Those
movies just suck.
Okay. I'm not going to argue, actually. I have nothing to stand on with the way that I went on Spectre. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Spectre was whack.
And I don't know if this is going to create any controversy. It might. It may not. It might. I think it was better than Pacific Rim.
I'm gonna let that marinate for a while.
Negative.
Let's go into it first.
The thing. Okay, before we go into individual, the thing that
it was better than Pacific Rim. But anyway, go ahead.
The reason why, for the most part, even I was sitting there at the end of the movie expressionless, is because we were more upset what was wrong with the movie than what was right with the movie. Also, expectations were on a certain level, given that for the last couple of months, 3 of us have been like in Star Wars boot camp. So the fact that we felt like this was going to be something new, and we basically got a rehash of A New Hope, is the letdown. But A New Hope isn't a terrible movie, and neither was this.
It's not just that, though. It's really not just that. It's the problems with the movie didn't allow us to. The movie wasn't good enough to overshadow its flaws, and that's really what it was. I mean, we had this big expectation for the movie, and I'm not the only one who basically went in social media blackout and did a bunch of things just to be coming to the movie in a state of mind, just to be excited and really enjoy it and see it for the first time. And when we get there, so the expectation was already here, and the movie fell short of expectations a little bit, and then it also had questionable character decisions, like with Finn. And
I think
that's our biggest complaint.
That's our biggest complaint is with Finn. I mean, to be honest, let's just be real. I mean, that kind of got in the way of the actual movie.
Also, the fact that it was a rehash. When we first came out, as soon as we walked out the movie theater, and I forget, it was either Grandma Rue or Rob or well, not Rob, because Rob was pissed off. It might have been Face or Geconians that asked me, so what you think? I was like, yo, it was
That was me.
good. It was good, but
It was good, but see,
I feel like I just watched A New Hope and Empire Strike Back.
That's what we got. That's what we got. That's exactly what we got.
And see, and I think at the end of the day, if we take a step back, and I haven't seen it again yet, I'm going to see it again probably this week.
You won't get my money.
The thing is, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just a bad thing for what we were looking for.
Oh, well, okay, so I guess we got to put it out there in context. For everybody who's a fan of the genre, who's a fan of the series and all that stuff, it was a letdown because it wasn't as great as we expected. But if you step back and you just step back from it, it wasn't a bad movie. Like Pop Belly said, New Hope wasn't a bad Star Wars movie, but at the end of the day, Empire Strikes Back was a better movie than the first one. It just was, and I feel like
Episode 8 should be better than this one.
I think what we're going to see is the second movie is going to be better than this last one. I think it was, and I think that's what got it. I think what bothers you is they didn't have to go this route because they did it already. They did the setup already. There really shouldn't have been much more setup, and that's what this movie was, set up to more stuff. And it was like when you first watch Star Wars, when you first watch Star Wars, A New Hope come out, and it was like, ooh, introducing this new world. Okay, this is great. The Empire Strikes Back, it comes out and punches you right in the mouth. You're like, oh, it is straight 100 miles an hour the entire time. Great. And then Jedi finishes it. Return of the Jedi finishes it. Not as good as the first two, but still a good movie. And you're like, oh, well, I enjoyed it. And I think it seems like they're following the exact same formula when it's not even necessary because there shouldn't be this much setup. Everybody know what this is about at this point. So there really didn't have to be the mirroring. It mirrored the first movie. And it was like a mashup of the first and the second movie. Like,
okay, so let's get into this thing. Rob, what's the ground rules?
Oh, this is the spoilerific
we
show.
Spoiling.
All right,
so same thing with theories, everything. We're going full wide open.
We going in.
Yeah, we have to go in.
Who first?
And okay, so we have to go in. We have to go in this end, and I said I was going to provide one more, and I posted on Twitter, said, look, we're spoiling. There are no ground rules. We can go into it. The discussion that we had after the movie was really deep. One thing I do want out of this conversation is the discussion about a lot of people don't understand, or from what I saw on Twitter, some people don't understand this concept of force sensitive versus, what was it? Force user. And so I think it's important to explain that because it really sets the parameter of what the hell was going on with Finn. And I think the fact maybe, but that's why we said. But that's why we said theories. Because I told the Geekonians earlier. I said I'm not buying it. I think the first movie coming out. So first of all, let's start with what worked, because I think that what didn't work is a much bigger conversation. So let's start with what did work. So let's start with King Face. Face, what for Force Awakens actually worked for you?
I liked the story, how they introduced the New Blood wasn't a bad one. Also, I'm going to be positive. The story introducing New Blood wasn't a bad one. I actually cared to see what happened to the character, the female. It's still unclear who she is, but I think it's obvious, but whatever, we'll see. They might throw a curveball. I like the introduction of the universe at large as far as what's going on after the fact. Keep in mind that I read the books coming up to this, and so I have, when I seen things, I said, oh, that's such and such, because I read those books that was specifically made to enhance the story going forward. And so that was cool. I liked how they did introduce some of the old blood. I thought the way they came in wasn't bad. It wasn't too, except for the end. It wasn't. It
wasn't over the top.
It wasn't over the top.
Story.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the old characters really didn't dominate the story. I mean, there was a lot of Han Solo, but that was cool. The way they did it
It was a
wasn't.
good balance.
It was a good balance. It wasn't too much about them, and I think going forward, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. They're going to be a part of the movie. They're going to be a part of the story, but it wasn't like, okay, we got to sell the old guys. It could have worked without them, and I think that's a positive going forward. So I think they did a good blend of introducing some of the new stuff and kind of giving you a back, you know, a kind of, you know, going backwards and seeing what they did before and kind of just, laying out the blueprint. All right, so this is what happened before previously, and they did good with that without doing too much, and so that was cool. Introducing some of the new droids was cool. It all worked together, and then, like I said, I think the story in of itself, you could see where they're going to a point. There's probably room for curveballs, so that's not a bad thing. Um, overall, I think the pacing of the story was fine. It wasn't mind blowing action, but when you're telling us, when you're doing what they're trying to do, it it wasn't. I could see why it wasn't, and I guess that goes into why we were probably a little upset. But I'll save that for the back part.
In my mouth, but I got to take the mute off.
Yeah,
Let's
take
go
that off.
over. Yeah, let's go over to the Potbelly Samurai. What will work for you in this movie, man?
Starting from the top, I love the cinematography. I thought it was a beautiful looking film. I like the fact that they moved away from all of the CGI backgrounds and actually built real sets, and it felt very nostalgic. It felt a lot more real, a lot more like the original trilogy, and I thought that was done really well. The CGI was well placed and it enhanced the look of the film. So I think the film looked beautiful. So that's one. Two. Um, I like the fact that the first generation of characters didn't overshadow or overpower the second generation of characters. I thought that they were there and they helped move the story along, but it was in such a minimal way that the new characters shined. I like the fact that Ray and Finn got a lot of screen time. I like the fact that Finn got a lot of screen time, and that's something that you don't see a lot where African American, or excuse me, a person of the diaspora, gets that much screen time in the situation like this, especially in the sci-fi movie. So that was cool. I like the chemistry between the characters and the cast. I thought the cast had really great chemistry, and you really felt that when you were watching it, that everybody kind of clicked. No one, no one. It wasn't a situation where someone stepped in and they stole every scene. Like it was really a nice blend in that case. One of the other things that I liked about the character is, kind of how they started to really tease out the use of the Force. And I think audiences who are not necessarily familiar with the books and whatnot, they kind of got an idea of kind of how the Force works a little bit, kind of because the Force is really mysterious. So with the visions and how the Force began to awaken in different characters in that interplay. I thought that was cool. I actually like Kylo Ren. I liked Adam Driver. I thought he did a really good job. I liked the his interaction. I mean, the last scene with Kylo and Han was a complete it was a complete ripoff from Empire Strikes Back. But I like the fact that they killed Han Solo. Like I appreciate the fact that there were no sacred cows, and they kind of went there in order to move the larger story along. And as far as kind of like that sinister element in the back, someone pulling the strings, Snoke. I like that they did that. I've got my own theories about who Snoke is, Darth Plagueis, but we'll see what happens. Overall, those are kind of some of the things that I liked about the movie. It was really cool to see the Millennium Falcon back in action with new pilots and uh, some of the fight. I thought the fight scenes and just the military aspect of it was pretty cool, and it was more interactive than in previous um, Star Wars movies where, kind of had a different feel to it. But overall, those are, some of the things that I appreciate about the film.
Cool. I'm gonna throw a couple of mine before I go to Dark Draconius. What I did like about the movie, I actually I thought the story was good, but I felt it was good, but it was a bit weak at certain moments for me. I really liked the CG. I liked the fight scenes, the TIE fighter scenes. The scenes with the Millennium Falcon were exceptionally well choreographed. I thought those were very well done. Um, I like the BB-8 character. I thought they did really well. R2 was such a dominant character in a lot of the other movies, and just kind of being the small sidekick hero. BB-8 almost seemed like a younger version, and you kind of felt like that when the two of them met, if you will. Um, let's see, what else did I really like about the movie? Yeah, that's about it for me.
Wow.
So, maybe I'll think of something else, but yeah, anyway. So, Dark Econius, what were your likes for this movie?
I want to start out with the obvious. You're not invited to Episode 8, Rogue Squadron, Episode 9, or any other Star Wars movies in between the episodes. So
It's not my fault they made that movie. That's not my fault.
Let's get that out the
movie. I'm just saying. That's not my fault.
Now,
like, you gonna blame me for them blowing up all the Iron Man suits? That wasn't my decision. None of that was my decision. I'm just saying. Don't blame me. I didn't make the movie. Did they call me to ask me?
I can't believe you even put this in the same sentence with Iron Man 3. But anyway,
I'm just saying.
What I liked about the movie was, though longtime fans and people aware with the series may have disliked it, I like that they made the movie approachable to new audiences, given how old the film franchise is in of itself. There are actually people who have never seen Star Wars. So they made it approachable with likable characters. The cinematography was good. I like the flow. For those familiar with Lucas's works, he likes to go more into dialogue and drama or attempted drama. That's often sometimes very cheesy, episodes 1 through 3. But J.J. Abrams didn't do any of that. There was some speaking parts, but he had a nice balance of action as well as dialogue. So I like the fact that the film was very approachable and at the same time very familiar to those who are longtime fans of the series. I also like how he was able to bring the old favorites into the story without them overwhelming the new characters, which is, in my opinion, why he probably waited to the end to show Luke, because Luke probably would have overshadowed, any new characters if he was, diehard in it. And I actually read something earlier where he was talking about when they were originally writing the story, they had some stuff with him and Rey basically side by side and some action scenes, and they were just like, no, it's not going to work because everyone's going to be like, Luke, who's this girl? So there's definitely some trade-offs, but I think overall the ratings and the reviews that the larger population is giving it are definitely warranted. But the pot shots I take at it are, I think, things that people like us would see, as well as the larger geek community. So I'll leave it at that before we go into the dark part of the show.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
We've just covered the light side of the review, so
okay. So
it's time to get into the dark side.
Okay, so I do want to comment. I think Potbelly mentioned it. I did like the use. I did like the balance of the old and new characters. I kind of felt a finality, if you will, between the relationship with Leia and Han.
The torch.
Yeah, I like that, and I kind of felt that they had to get rid. I think they had to really do Han like that, because then it allowed Rey to kind of move into that type of, the basic.
They ain't had to do Han like that. They ain't had to do Han like that. Damn it. They ain't had to do Han like that. I don't care what you say. They ain't had to do him like that, man. He ain't had man. It's a shame what happened to Flip. They ain't had to do it like that. He looked like he was finna retire anyway. He could have just left.
He wouldn't
You know what
retire.
I'm
That
saying?
dude, that dude was
He
gonna
could've
keep.
retired.
He
He
was
should have
gonna
been like,
keep.
you know what? I'm gonna let you get this ship. I'm too old for this.
Can we discuss some of the comments in the chat? I think we got some really good ones in there. Especially this one from CJP 10251. He basically called this film the original trilogy's greatest hits.
Hey, look. You know what? And that goes back to one of the things that we didn't like. Like I said, to me, this was like a matter of fact, Pop Bailey said it best. This was a mashup between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Because when dude went on
At least we didn't get no Ewoks dancing at the end.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That was Return of the Jedi. You didn't get Return of the Jedi. You really got New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. When dude walked out on that little balcony, the first thing I said when he walked out on the crosswalk, I said, "Damn it all to hell."
You knew what was gonna go down.
You knew what was going to go down. I said,
down.
"Damn it!"
That was my design.
Look, he's looking for the dude that he ain't gonna find him in the middle of a crosswalk, in the middle of nothing. You looking for? There's all kind of little hidden compartments he could look at. Instead, he walked in a wide open crosswalk that's seen out to nothing. I said, "Damn it, all the hell!" Didn't even make no sense for him to even walk out.
At the end of the day, they blew up the third Death Star. Like they've
Just be
officially blown
happy
up 3 Death Stars.
They did. What dude said there is a weakness in a core right here on the moon. And I said, "Hey, even got General Akbar and everything." I said, "It's a trap." The only thing you didn't get was it's a trap. That's the only thing you didn't get. But it was verbatim.
And that's unfortunate.
I know, right? If you was gonna go in, you might as well go all the way in. Give me as a trap. Might as well. You did everything else verbatim. There's a Death Star. There's a weakness, and we gotta fly in and blow it up. And I said, "Oh my God, oh God, that part."
Hey,
was
again, at least you weren't me and had a screenshot tweeted to you out of some random user on Twitter that actually showed Han getting killed. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, is this when it's going to happen? Is this when it's going to happen? Oh, here, this was going to happen.
Yeah.
At least you can at least lie to yourself up until when it happened.
Can we talk about Kylo Ren? I mean, this dude is like literally trying to be his grandfather. And it's interesting because it's like his real name is Ben Solo. And I see how they borrow from the expanded universe because in the expanded universe, Ben is actually Luke's son, but now he's Han's son in this, and I don't have a problem with that. But dude is like man weak. Like you almost got toasted by Finn.
See, hold up. Let's talk about that, because that was corny. Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna say corny. It just was like, here's this guy who was trained by Luke, trained by another Sith, and gets worked by a person who had the Force for all of 3 minutes. And she was a Force user for all of 3 minutes and never used a lightsaber.
Nope. And the same thing with Finn, and I pointed that out in an article I wrote. The same thing with Finn. Like Finn was actually holding his own. He got us some pretty good shots.
He got worked right out the gate.
He got him on the shoulder. He got him.
Now I will say no, but you know what? Here's the one thing I will say in defense of that. It's part of the positives, and I'm only going to really touch on it just a little bit. They didn't make the stormtroopers mindless fodder. I will give them credit for that, because in all the other shows, the stormtroopers was there just to get knocked off. They were red suits. They were the red suits in Star Wars. They were just, hey, somebody got to die. It might as well be the people in the white suits. And I think when you read the books and then going up into the show, even if let's pretend you didn't read the books, going up into this, they made the stormtroopers worthy, like dangerous. You see what I'm saying? They actually gave them substance. And like that one scene where dude had pulled out the lightsaber and the other one pulled out his own electric thing. That was new. Before that, they were just getting knocked off. Yeah. And he obviously knew what he was doing. So they were trained warriors. And if you're a trained warrior, you really shouldn't just be weak like that.
But see, that right there, that whole point goes back to the point I was making before with Finn. Finn went toe-to-toe with that dude. Mm-hmm. He also went toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren. He lost eventually to Kylo Ren because he was outclassed. He shouldn't have been able to go up against him anyway, but he went up against him. He was standing thin on his own for a while. But in the very beginning, when you first meet Rey, you basically run and get your ass whipped. Like, you're actually a trained infantryman. There's no way you should have gotten your ass whooped. Like,
is he?
Off break. If he's a stormtrooper, he made it that far.
If he's a stormtrooper, yes, he is.
Actually, just to clarify.
Even what you're about to say.
I'm actually cheating. We didn't read the novel yet, but it is actually there's a Force Awakens novel that
came out on Friday.
Yeah, and basically it explains that Finn was excelled in his training as a stormtrooper and was actually the top of his class and good in all his tests and stuff.
So wait a minute, you're telling me the top stormtrooper in the class was a sanitation engineer? I mean, that's really what...
And got his ass whooped by a girl. Not saying that women can't win, but I'm just saying she's not a trained soldier.
But you know what?
However,
what they did, what they tried to do, and I don't like it, but they didn't make her weak from the come out. Because remember, the dudes tried to rob her and she took them out. So she was trained by somebody in something. But I still don't think she should work them out.
And both of the things we just discussed go into two theories, for and against certain things that can bring up when we get to that.
You might jump in now. You're already there. Like, lay it out.
Okay, so one of the things, we can start with Rey. Some people are obviously like, okay, this is Luke's daughter. No doubt about it, it's Luke's daughter. Others are saying that maybe, just maybe, we could be finally getting a new character that's not a Skywalker. And he's the reluctant hero. But one of the theories is why Rey can fight and why she was able to pick up on the Force so well and so easily was that she may have been one of the younglings at Luke's new Jedi Order he set up. And when Kylo Ren destroyed it, they basically shuttled her the hell out of there and did a Force mind wipe of her to, make her forget and to suppress her Force powers. And it wasn't until Kylo Ren hit her with blunt Force trauma that it came out.
It's a huge stretch. It's a possibility, but it's
because, well, here's the thing: you really need something like that to explain why the hell Luke Skywalker would drop his daughter on some random desert planet and leave him with that slave.
Because it worked for me. It can work for you. I was dropped off in a desert and all of a sudden became the greatest Jedi in the universe.
With his relatives, might I add.
With your relatives. So can you.
He was dropped off with his uncle. She was with the dude who actually Simon Pegg, ironically, played the big guy who was dishing out the food. That was the guy she was dropped off with, that they had to scavenge for parts for. Mm-hmm. So I don't quite see Luke Skywalker just saying, "Here, you big nasty slaver, take my daughter," and
Hey, he probably thought, "Hey, this will be the last place anybody in this world will think I dropped my daughter off at." It kind of works.
Yeah, but I would think he would drop her off with somebody that would take care of her.
He did get taken care of. She grew up in the mean streets of a dust planet.
Okay, so let me ask this question since you brought it, because I know that we're talking about theories and some of this came out of the novel, but as a layperson who hasn't seen it, it seems disjointed. It doesn't. It's like, why didn't they take the opportunity to do just a little bit more background on them? Because I mean, the Rey character. I mean, granted, they kept doing flashes and she kept talking about her family, but like even Finn, it didn't make any sense. Here he is, first time out in the field. They go to slaughter a community, and he all of a sudden, after going through all this training, it's now real to him that this gun is going to be used to shoot other people. I mean, it's like
no, because I guess that's because. So here's the thing, because you're like I said, you're speaking as a layperson.
That's the awakening.
That makes sense. But here's the thing.
That's the awakening.
That is an awakening, and in a lot of what you read and when you go through all the stuff, that's happened constantly with people who fall in with the Empire. Not to mention with someone like him who is basically taken and forced to just do this thing.
I mean,
with the stormtroopers, because they're conditioned differently.
With Asajj Ventress at the end of Dark Disciple, her Force experience, like that just changed everything. That was like in a split second. Like the Force is real mysterious.
Asajj went to the light side, like.
And so it's not so much that all of a sudden,
and this is somebody who was Dooku's apprentice,
a hardcore assassin.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that he was just all of a sudden like, oh, I can't believe it's just one of those things when you're with the end, you could,
We lose
but
pace.
No.
yes, no, y'all see me? Am I good?
You're buffering.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not so much that everything is he just all of a sudden. It's just a lot of things in the Empire. You get to the point either A, you just get to the point where you're like, all right, this is crazy because it gets real.
But
You know
Vader,
what I mean?
but Vader did that too.
He did
Remember,
too?
he sat there. Luke was getting shocked by lightning for a hot second before Vader actually decided to do something. And then out of nowhere, Vader was like, all right, I'm going to grab the Emperor and save my son.
Throughout this series, it always takes something crazy or real to even get to that point where you're like, I can't let this keep going down. And then you get to the point where what you're going to do about it. Some characters keep going. Other characters turn away.
You got to say, too, with those kind of characters, they got both light and dark in them. And it's just like, what's going to be the impetus to push one to the fore, and one to the shadow. And in this case, that massacre, it like gave the Force the opening it needed to just change Finn.
But and one of the things, and for those who are watching, if you haven't noticed, we're going into the theory of, is Finn Force sensitive or not, or Force user? And one of the things they give credence to the theory, because we're still going with this whole his quick turn, Finn was basically part of the new crop of stormtroopers who had been training since they were, little infants and toddlers. So his whole life has been first order indoctrination, and this is the way we're supposed to do things. So for someone to be in the dark that long, to just snap into the light, that's a key indicator of Force as well, as far as the ethos is going. But more things that people, including myself, tack onto this theory was Kylo Ren's noticing of him. Now, alternate explanation was Kylo noticed that there was a stormtrooper who had hesitation or wasn't thinking. But
Force influence.
But at the end of the day, he took that. He literally, it was enough to make him stop, and take note. Also, and he knew him by name when it came time to recount him. But also, just Finn, given description and the way the character was portrayed about, fumbling and bubbling and stuff like that, he did some things on instinct, like when they were flying the Millennium Falcon. And him and Rey both ended that flight with, "How did we do that? I don't know." They both that way. They both said they didn't have
bonded together that way.
Yeah, they just bonded and used and what I say used the Force. Stormtroopers are notoriously a bad shot.
Think about this: the fight with Kylo Ren. He'd never used a lightsaber before, and he was able to go toe to toe with Kylo Ren. To me, that's also an indicator that he's Force sensitive. The fact that he was able to tap into the Force
and wound him. He did wound him.
He wounded him twice.
Yeah.
So that's
he got worked in the end. Yeah. But yeah,
that's to be expected. But I think the way they ended it with him in a coma at the end, we're gonna see a lot more, because sometimes it does take that traumatic experience for like the Force to really take hold. Just like with Rey, him like literally digging inside her mind. Woke up the Force in her. I think.
But there's nothing wrong with her just being stronger. I mean, let's put it this way: Luke and Leia are both have the Force, and Leia just never used it the way Luke uses it.
Yeah, Leia is just a Force sensitive at this point. She doesn't actually use the Force like that.
And if you remember, and if you remember in the promos, they cut it from the movie. It wasn't in the movie. It might be from Episode 8, where Luke is giving the speech about the Force is strong in my family. My father had it. I have it. My sister has it. Mm-hmm. And then he says, and you have it. Which to me also proves that Rey is not Luke's daughter, because he used family as in a personal pronoun, my family, and then use you as an outside pronoun, basically saying, you have it too.
No, because he did that to Leia. He's like, my father has it. And he looked at Leia and says, and my sister has it. They're clearly related. They knew this. He just talks stupid like that because that's what Jedi do.
The sentence is a little bit...
That's what Jedi do.
It's reordered. I read the original wording of that. It's reordered, but he makes it clear he's talking to Leia, and saying that she has the Force. Whereas in the structuring of this, he's talking to her like she's an outsider.
Yeah, I think you're stressing that.
Which, to be perfectly honest, it would be so damn cheesy to me if he pulls a "I am your father." It's just,
why not? That's where they going. It's what they did. They already got the precedents.
They also basically showed us that Finn was a Jedi in all the promo material, just to show
to be a sanitation worker for the Jedi.
And they went out their way to show her as just somebody that could fight with a stick. And then look what happened.
Yeah.
Well, I'm cool with that because I don't like seeing everything in the previews.
Here's my other question though. Like, all of the Star Wars universe has all come together at this point. What about the other Jedi or the other Force users in the universe? Like, if Kanan didn't die, Kanan, aka Caleb Jarrus, he would be around Luke's age, give or take. So he should still be around. Ahsoka, if the rebellion is still around, she should probably still be around.
Well, the rebellion's not around, but
I mean, they are the rebellion. That's the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, they showed up in the ships. What do you mean they're not around?
Yeah, they separated out the Republic from the rebellion.
Yeah, what I think the First Order is not really the Empire. Yeah. They're
that's beside the point. You still have folks.
The Resistance. That's why the Resistance versus the Republic is what the Rebel Alliance became. Blah, blah, blah.
Semantics at this point, but you got Ezra. Ezra should be probably in his 40-ish.
Well, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with that, but yeah, you're right. Ezra.
All these people should still be around, and I'm quite sure. And if you've been keeping up with Rebels, they've been identifying Force-sensitive children, like the Empire was doing it, and the Rebels was going and taking the kids back. So what happened to all these Force-sensitive kids? I'm sure
because it still happens,
and trained some of them to be Jedi. So where are all the Forces? Luke can't be the only one.
Which is why it's perfectly feasible too that Rey isn't his daughter. It's perfectly feasible that, like Anakin, she's an anomaly of some strong Force user who was born, for all we know, her parents could have been hiding her because the First Order was pulling that stunt the Empire was doing, taking or he could have been on the way to the Jedi Temple and stuff went bad and they're hiding her. She don't necessarily have to be a Skywalker or a Solo, just to, the balancing of the Force could be Luke now becoming the teacher who brings on the new order of Jedi, and she's the new head. Like, there's some crazy theories out there, and some of them are really good.
It is. It would just be corny that one lightsaber called out to her. Just very corny indeed. Since it was both Darth Vader's and Luke's lightsaber, then all of a sudden some random person's lightsaber calls out to you that strongly, and then they make the reference.
Part of your family.
Yeah, it's not part of your family, but this particular lightsaber called to you. That's special. Take the lightsaber. Why she would do that is beyond stupid. But hey,
I guess like all the other Jedi and Sith in the universe, that's drawn to places that have strong Force energies.
Yeah, but that's never happened though.
All right, I'll just say she was in a place. Her Force powers.
She didn't get called by a place. She got called by an item.
Yeah, it happens all the time in Star Wars.
No, actually, it doesn't. No one's been called by somebody else's lightsaber. No one's been. Name the time that somebody else been called by someone else's lightsaber.
It's not just a lightsaber. It's an item.
She was called by the lightsaber.
Don't try to be ignorant for the show.
I'm not trying to be ignorant for the show. You're being stupid right now because you acting like she didn't just say that.
Items.
You try to tell me that Lupita, not Lupita, something like Lupita said, then say. You got called by this particular lightsaber. I wonder why it called to you. Trying to say that they didn't say that.
She also, Lupita, if you want to use proof that she's not, Lupita also said was, stop worrying about people coming back for you. That's gone. You need to work on the future. So if Luke's her father, why would she say, "Oh, your parents aren't never coming back"?
Luke ain't going anywhere. He ain't leaving the damn rock. What are you talking about? How did you even work that together just now? How'd you work that together just now? He didn't say she didn't say you'll never find your parents. She simply said ain't nobody coming back to that dusty place for you. So just let that go.
Yep.
I'll read the exact quote because some people need that.
Yeah, go read the quote. I mean, you're stupid for even trying to fit that together, round hole, square peg. I mean, that's really? Really? I mean, I know you want this. I know you want it to be that they're not related, and it would be kind of cool if they weren't related. But I'm not gonna just start just magically making it happen.
True enough. All right, so Geekos, while you're looking for that quote, let's because looking at time, let's finish up our cons. Anything else that just really bugs you about the movie? Anything, what brought the movie down for you? I'm gonna start with Potbelly.
Yeah, Finn brought the movie down for me. Like that, like the quirks with his character that kind of really outline some kind of unconscious racial bias. That bothered me. The fact that it was a mashup as opposed to a complete push forward, that kind of was a detractor for me. And the the lack of story. I thought we had more action than story, and I would have appreciated more story. Even if they added another half hour to the movie, I'd have been fine with that. Like, I'm not one of those people like, oh, this movie is too long. Like, if it's good, it's good. I've gone into movies that were long as hell and walked out and didn't realize how long they were. Hell, I got caught up last night watching The Departed on cable and didn't
That's
realize
long.
I
And
had been
y'all
there
was
for like
down for
3 hours.
Scarface. I could watch Scarface over and over again, and
Yeah,
that's
so
like 5 hours long.
yeah, like I would like to have seen more new stuff, especially with the fact that, we sat down, we ran through all the new canon books, and, I was expecting like the new, and kind of got the sort of kind of really, but not really, maybe new. So that was a little bit of a attractive for me. But overall, the nostalgia of it, I did like. I mean, like I said, I gave the movie a good grade. I mean, I didn't give it the greatest grade, and I didn't give it the best grade. It was good.
All right, we'll talk about grading at the end. Face, what brought the movie down for you?
Um, I didn't. I was upset about Finn, not so much his corpse because he kind of reminded me of Solo in that way, and that's cool. Everybody doesn't need to be super serious for me to be like, oh, this is stupid, or this is great. I think he was a combination of both. He wasn't like lame. He wasn't some weak character that needed to be carried everywhere. He kind of was assertive when he needed to be assertive. He was funny when he needed to be funny. I think it was a good balance of his character. I was kind of hot how they kind of downplayed him, though, because when you seen the previews, you thought he was a Jedi or something to that effect, and to find out he's just a sanitation worker. They kind of played that. Kind of came out of nowhere. That was unnecessary. Um, I I didn't
I
like.
don't understand how he's a sanitation worker when they usually have robots for that. Like, they
I
have
know.
ways to do that.
Exactly.
There's a
Exactly.
lot, but you know what? There's a lot going on. I truly hope that they flesh that out because I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah,
But that's
flush
just
that
me
out.
hope. No.
Flush that out.
You see what I did there, unconsciously? No, no. But because I think there was a lot going on there. Like when they got to that one part where he was like basically all up in that one stormtrooper's face. I think there was something there. Maybe he was relegated to sanitation duty or something to that
Oh, you
effect
about
because
Captain
of something.
Phasma?
Yeah, let's just see. I honestly believe that there more story will be fleshed out because it's going to be at least 3 movies. So I think the story is going to be fleshed out as it goes. I don't think they're going to do everything all at once. I just think they just decided, all right, we're going to tell a story at a pace, and they're going at their own slow ass pace. And I just thought it was an okay telling. It was a little slow as far as fleshing out what's going on. I am on that same track because I did read those books coming up to The Force Awakens. I was kind of upset that there was nothing of the little hints in the thing, like stuff that they left, like the ringers out there that they left. There was a lot of red herrings that they left out there. There's a lot of ringers that they left out there, and they didn't do any of those things, not a one. And I was like, where's Nash Windrider? Where's he at? I want to see him. And for those that don't know, he was one of the last generals that was left. I mean, what happened to all the characters that y'all kind of just put out there for this movie, saying, oh, they're going to play a part or they should play a part or something like that? Where are they at? I just think that part kind of got on my nerves. There wasn't enough explanation to what happened to certain characters and how they influenced where they were at right now. Other than that, and the the concept of Luke, that I understand. When Geekonia say they didn't want to do too much Luke because he would have overshadowed. When you say it like that, I understand. I just thought you kind of hyped it like Luke was going to be in a movie, and all he got was a stare off. That's all you got from Luke was a stare off for the last 10 seconds of the movie, with him saying not a damn word and him doing the traditional heroic pose without saying a word. That's kind of corny, but whatever. Not enough for it to ruin the entire movie experience, but it was just one of those things. Other than that, I don't have too much that I hated, other than what we've talked about earlier about it being basically a combination piece of the first original 2 movies. It was kind of predictable in that way. Kylo Ren being something like a beast, but not really. I mean, they brought him in like he was the baddest damn thing since Vader, and it wasn't even remotely close. Which kind of makes some sense. It would be kind of corny if you had another Vader out of nowhere. So I guess we'll see how the story progresses.
Yeah. Let me do mine. Like I said before I let Geekonius loose on it. I'll end with my biggest con. No, I'm gonna start my biggest con. I think what really bugged the hell out of me, and yes, I am coming at this as a layperson, not understanding, but and you guys keep wanting to explain it away, but I really felt that they made Finn's character a bit too weak for me. And Geekonius took some time this week to explain to me some things, but I felt that he was a caricature. I felt that they made his emotions just all over the place, from him ripping off the helmet and shaking and sweating, and granted that is probably the right reaction afterwards, but then he goes from that, then to escaping, then to laughing and cheering as he's gunning down people, gunning down TIE fighters. And then then he's having these conversations, and he reminds me of Will Smith in a Bad Boy movie. And then I just gotta get out of here. And I mean, I just felt that the caricature, compared to all the other characters, he's showing these huge, wide, sweeping emotions. And if you want to just explain that away as, oh well, he's sensitive to the Force, honestly, I'm not looking at that. As a layperson, I'm looking at a black character with these really all-over mood swings. And then to go through all that, and I said this, that was a big freaking space station. You're telling me out of all the job openings that were available on that space station, the black stormtrooper, I don't know what race, what nationality any of those other stormtroopers are on that whole place, because nobody took their helmets off, but going by what were clones. Obviously, they're not going with clones now. They're from all different walks of life. You're telling me you couldn't pick one other position, and this is what bugs the hell out of me. How is it that they're sitting and they show the pictures of everybody sitting there in the readings? How is it no one that was black put up their hand and say, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't make him a sanitation worker. Not that there's anything wrong with sanitation workers, but my problem is that it just plays into the trope of the black people still cleaning up after other people. He could have been a communications network engineer. He could have been a welder. He could have been just a welder that welded crap, for this big machine. But they decide, to me, to take him to the lowest common denominator. Again, no disrespect to sanitation workers, because they provide a very valuable service to society. But what I'm saying is more around the fact that it plays into a concept of the help. That he was this, and I hear what you're all saying, that some of this stuff is going to maybe get flushed out in the next movie, but all I'm going by is the movie that I just saw, and I realize that this movie is really, Bison kind of said it in the chat, this movie is pretty much a setup for the next movie. But my problem, which is really weird, because we're always talking about Hollywood playing to the lowest common denominator and not making stuff for geeks, was the fact that you're telling me they finally made a movie that only appeals to the people who've actually read the books. I just have a hard time buying that. I understand it, and I do agree to it to a degree. And if they did finally make a movie for the people who love reading the books and they get all this and it makes sense, that's awesome. But for a person who's never read any of the books, it kind of seems kind of dumb to me, or it just seems kind of downplayed. The Kylo Ren character, he was a lot weaker than I thought he was going to be. All little temper tantrums, but considering they kind of made him, but he was like an adult. I mean, it wasn't that he was like some teenage kid, and it was very obvious. And I kind of think it played into the fact that he was asking, "Please help me. I feel like I'm going back and forth between the dark and the light." I can kind of see where the confusion played into that. But the Kylo Ren that was behind the mask seemed very strong until obviously he started lashing out. But that was really, really kind of odd. So I felt the movie was for as much hype and as for much of having to deal with Star Wars being shoved down my throat every freaking day, no matter where I went, on the commercials, in Target, in the grocery store, everywhere I went, there was a freaking Star Wars something. For you to shove that stuff down my throat for over a month, I expected a better damn movie. I expected better. I expected better writing. I expected better characters. I just expected so much more. And granted, I've been really let down by movies this year, and this is yet another in the string. But
Rob.
What? I didn't interrupt nobody else. Why can't I just finish what I'm saying?
Tell them why you're really mad, son.
I'm just saying. Look, that's it. I'm done. I'm at the end of my rant. I see my time. I'm watching my time. But I just had to get my perspective out on it. Darky Coney, the floor is yours.
Wow. Is there really anything to say after that? Well, I'll say this. I too felt there were some racial components that I didn't like. There were some issues with Finn that I don't think he was this as Bison characterized some of the commentary on this show as we're saying that he was some kind of space coon. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to that extreme. And I'm not saying he's a weak character. He's definitely a fish out of water character. And I do have to admit that my bias as a black person and a black man is giving me this perspective. You can't discount bias. It could be, and I explained this the night we saw it, that as a writer, when you say, well, what's the funniest thing I could write here to give him a job contrary to somebody who's acting like he knows what's going on, sanitation worker might have just been funny. If you were to say he's an engineer, that may not have lined up with the fact of, hey, you say you act like you know so much about this, I need something to contradict it, and you say, oh, well, I'm an engineer. Then you say, well, of course he knows what he's talking about. So you say, okay, maybe not engineer. What can I say that can get a laugh line? And in that way, that was one of the shortcomings of the film overall. It seemed like they tried too hard to put comedy where there should not have been. Like when Finn was doing the when they hemmed up Captain Phasma, which is, I think, is interesting that no one's complained about that. The fact that they've been hyping her up, and it's played by one of our favorite characters one of my favorite characters from Game of Thrones, is that she got like no screen time and didn't do anything.
I actually pointed that out in my article.
Yeah, and Black Girl Nerds wrote an article about it as well.
Yeah, you did point it out in your article, Pop Belly. For those who are on the blackgeeks.com, he put up a nice good, bad, and ugly review, which I thought was pretty good. It was really funny, actually. But that being said, one of the things that did stand out to me, again, this is my bias, and sometimes there's nothing wrong with having biases, but I think in the same way that I notice stuff because of my bias, I think those who don't notice it is because of their biases against seeing these things. Case in point for me was the opening introduction between him and Rey. That actually bothered me, and I made an under-the-hand joke next to the guy I was sitting to in the theater. I was like, oh, we got a Black Lives Matter moment, and he was like, hands up, don't shoot. Because BB basically told her he stole that jacket, and with no questions asked, she commits to whooping his ass. She just chased him down and just started hitting him. And I was like, wow, the black guy got the jacket, or he obviously stole it. And rather than ask him any questions about it, you go to commence to beating them up. And to me, again, in my mind as a writer, being conscious and aware of these perceptions, I may have did the same lead off. He stole the jacket, but I would have had there been some dialogue with him explaining that he didn't steal the jacket versus her obviously beating the black guy up. And I think in this case, and some of the people put it in the chat that might be more of their trying to make the feminists more happy than thinking about the racial component of the strong girl beating up on the guy.
But why couldn't they? And that's the thing, though. Why couldn't he have won, or why couldn't they just fought to a draw? And it has been like, yo, stop! I didn't steal it, or something.
Exactly, and therein lies the difference between being conscious of the implications. Because I'm gonna be perfectly honest, even though with everything all considered and trying to think of things in a more balanced way, as a father of sons, to me, the character didn't come off as somebody I would want them to get a toy of and put on their mantle as I want to be like him. He didn't quite pull off the Han Solo, if that's where they're going with this, nor did he put the budding Jedi, if that's where they're going with it. He was more of a cowardly lion character who got lucky in some situations, who pined after the girl for the whole movie, only to get a kiss on the forehead and be like, my friend, after she saved his life and he's unconscious while everybody else moves on to the next stage. I mean, we can color it and talk around it and make excuses for it, but ultimately that is what they show. However, as one of our mutual friends brought up, as an older person, she also said, look, coming from an era where you wouldn't see stuff like this, we saw a Nigerian actor, a classically black person, basically be put on the same prominence as everyone else in that movie, with equal, if not greater than, screen time of some of the other actors. And that in of itself was a win. And I mean, we formed this show, the Black Geeks, to highlight this type of stuff. And we have to admit that it's still tragic that in the end of the day, regardless of where we fall on this discussion, that for us, just having a black guy on screen is considered a win. I've always said, and I'm a great fan of Star Wars, as we all know, that this is now the third trilogy of this franchise, and it seems to me that they're doing the same thing with one black character that's present and one that you may not know that they're black. You know, the first trilogy I give Lando, who didn't get much screen time, but he was there. And then James Earl Jones, who of course was the voice of Vader. But people may not have known he was black in those times. But first, in the next trilogy, of course, you had Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu. And then you had Jar Jar Binks, who pissed off a lot of people, but the actor was in fact black. And now here we are again. We have a black guy up front, and John Boyega. And then we have Lupita, who you didn't know it was her unless you like kind of narrowed your eyes with a process of elimination.
I didn't know. You all had to tell me. I had no clue.
IMDb. I did process of elimination.
I totally missed it. I was like, did I miss her? I totally missed it. I had no clue.
And of course they had black people sprinkled here and there for the narrow eyed and the fact that we were even looking.
See, that's crazy because you must have caught them. I didn't see any.
Yeah.
Oh, there was the one starfighter that got shot. Yeah,
no,
I remember.
No, he didn't die.
He didn't die?
No, he didn't die.
Are you sure?
Positive. Because that was one of the jokes we made after the movie. It was like, well,
he made it.
Yeah, because you was the main one that started laughing. Like, that's all we get though, is the fact that, you know.
Well, no, hold up. They did have an Asian guy. They had an Asian guy.
You got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, so they were thinking about it. They got some of you people in there.
I mean, at the end of the day, the jury's still out. Obviously, whether you call it bias or keen observation, there were some issues with Finn's character. For newcomers of the series, like we had someone in the chat who said they've never seen any Star Wars before. and they were able to get into it right away. I think that was the great success for this. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, it's hard to get into some of the other ones if you know nothing about the universe. Not as difficult as Star Trek was, which is on a whole nother level, but it was very approachable. And other than that, I just hope, like I posted some comments from a Reddit forum I was in today, and there was a white guy who responded to this black guy who had similar complaints. And he said, man, I feel for you people. You know, you people obviously sounds racist, but he don't know he's being racist. But he was like, they basically hyped him up to be the face of the franchise, made him a Jedi, went through all this stuff. And then he said, then he ends up being barely a sidekick sanitation worker. So I don't know if that was my time up or I nailed the point, but anyway.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. And so that I mean, all I can say is it's a good lead into the next one. If the second one is any indication of what they could do with the next one, if the first one, I think we're really going to get a good episode 8, especially if they're following the pattern of Empire Strikes Back being better than New Hope. Because truth be told, this was more action-packed and more engaging to me than A New Hope was. And so I could not, as a young Star Wars fan, get into New Hope the way if we had this movie, even with its technological advances. I just think it's a much stronger movie because, like Face pointed out earlier, it's more of a New Hope and Empire Strikes Back merging. Whereas the next one may be heavier on the Empire Strikes Back, and they actually, I believe, they start shooting here soon anyway, in like the next couple weeks. And JJ's not a part of it, so it's gonna be interesting. It's and scary because the guy who's helping write this one did Looper.
Oh God, no. Okay, so see that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem because that was corny. I saw that on accident.
I wish I would have never told y'all that.
And J.J. Abrams has a good track record, and so when you switch directors in the middle of a trilogy, has that been done before? I'm sure it has. I just don't recall it being done before. You switching a director in the middle of a trilogy?
I think it's a trilogy, but they still treat them like standalone films at the same time.
Yeah, because J.J. Abrams said he wanted Ava DuVernay to do one. So
I'm not a fan of that. It's a trilogy.
Well, put it this way.
Your intention might be standalone
look at the last 2 trilogies and look what happened when you got the same guy looking at it all the time.
What?
I think.
What? Do I have to bring up episodes 1 through 3? Lucas was too close.
Oh, you talking about him? But okay, yeah, he sucked. But okay, but trilogies don't always go bad. Batman did all right. Iron Man almost did all right. They fell short of the finish line, but they were almost there. And so I mean, you could do it. And the reasons why Iron Man failed was not because he sucked. It's just someone was in his ear that shouldn't have been in his ear. Well, let's leave that alone. But I guess we'll wait and see. I don't want to bash up before it happens. I just doing a trilogy because that's what it is.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, they could say whatever they want. Standalone, blah blah blah. It's a damn trilogy. You're doing 3. You're doing a trilogy. I know they're gonna do some.
Got his hand in this next one. Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Who does?
Oh shoot.
Who does?
I went to IMDb to see who got their hands on the episode 8, and right now it looks like Rian Johnson. He's a director and a writer. He's known for Looper. This movie that came out at 2005, Brick. Basically, he's not known for a lot of stuff. Though he did 3 episodes of Breaking Bad for what it's worth.
How did he get a chance to direct a freaking Star Wars movie with that kind of a resume?
I don't know, son.
People like Breaking Bad.
I said he did 3 episodes.
Yeah, I know they liked it.
Wait a minute, Looper's the one with Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah.
Was that Bruce Willis?
Yeah, that was the one
Bruce Willis and Gordon V. Levitt.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing. I must admit, I fell asleep.
God, no. Oh God.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, if anything, I have to say, I mean, with as critical as I was for this movie, I have, they've kind of set up a lot to go on in the next movie, and I'm hoping, and I think that they've set up so that the next movie could actually be. I think the next movie will be better than this one. Now, granted, a lot of this does hinge on the director, but I think that they kind of know the direct. Well, it's very obvious. I know they got a plan. Just like they talk about Marvel in their phases.
Well, not as strong as you think, Rob. JJ said that he purposely gave a rough idea, but left it open to the individual directors being able to change the characters if they want to.
Oh gosh.
So that's another part of the theory about who Rey is. They were saying that JJ did that on purpose to let the next person decide whether she's Luke's daughter or go in a whole nother direction.
Why?
I will say this, that they say IMDb is saying that George Lucas is also writing the next one. He's writing the characters. I will give Lucas credit on this front, and this was one of the things I think this movie missed, is that Lucas does go a lot more into the lore, even when his backstories don't always line up. Like Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi, suddenly remembering what something about her mother, even though we all know her mother died in childbirth. But little things like that he tend to miss. But other than that, he seems to flesh out stuff a little bit more. So maybe we'll see.
She has the Force. The Force allows you to remember things even though you wasn't aware of them at the time. So she clearly remembered her mom because she had the Force, and it kept that bubble in her head because she came out a sane person when she was only 2 minutes old.
I'll give you that. That is possible, actually, in the Force.
The Force sounds like some other mythical. Let me not even.
No, I'm actually reading Path of the Jedi, which is a book that's made to explain. It's like a historical book written as if you're starting a new Jedi Order, and explains things about lightsabers, fighting style, a lot of stuff. And I learned some things just reading that so far about the Force I wasn't aware of. Like there's two aspects to the Force, which is cool, and one of them is to transcend time and space. But that doesn't explain why Obi-Wan didn't remember R2-D2 and C-3PO. Just saying.
Hey, real quick,
He did remember them. Yeah. He was pretending not to remember them because he didn't want to blow his cover.
Okay.
Hey, I wanna highlight something here because something very important has been happening while we've been going on about this. There's been a really, really great chat going on for everyone who has been watching live on YouTube. There's been an excellent conversation between Bison for Life, and Archie Mana and Geeks. So, brother, thanks you guys so much for joining. I know my man
Scott Gray's been in there too.
Scott Gray has been in there. I've also got some hits on Twitter. I know my man the Revolution is hanging in. Hey, Ray, if you're still watching, I'm planning on stalking you in 2016 because I have nothing better to do with my time. So that's my man right there.
The comments made by Big Brother Rob are no way indicative of the different feelings of us here at the Black Geeks.
I don't really give a squat about that, but what I do love...
those of us who may be watching this that maybe belong to the government, we are not for these type of crimes, so...
Yeah,
that guy right there, him.
But I want to say this is what I love about the geek community. There's a great conversation that I love that Bison said something that really bothered me during the movie, but I didn't mention it in my comments. The fact that they had to drain a sun to power this weapon, and the fact that they totally ignored the science and astrophysics behind what would happen if you drained the sun. Because I was sitting there like, why the hell would you drain an entire sun?
Star Wars is not science fiction.
I know. And that's exactly the point I was going to make.
Here goes. Don't realize there is science. They could drain the sun, but they got a diosphere to protect them for at least 20 seconds, and then they go into warp speed. And once they go into warp speed, they won't be there. You got to understand how that kind of stuff works, Baba Rob.
Warp speed.
Okay. I got one for you.
Commander Data would be turning over in his charging chamber right now. Of this bull.
Okay, I got one.
Stuff that they're doing with draining the damn stud. Stupid.
They destroyed how many planets? Like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
There was three of them.
And it was visible from the planet. You want to talk about science?
Oh my God!
Think about that for a second.
Dude,
they all looked up and was like, "Wow, 5 planets in different locations in the solar in the universe got all hit at the same time."
That's because they were close to each other.
Oh.
You got to remember, a lot of people have cybernetic eyes, so they could see farther than normal people.
They would have to all be in the same
Star Wars.
Oh heavens, yeah. But again, this is why Star Wars is fantasy and not science fiction, because
obviously.
Oh, it's so funny because coming from having seen The Martian to this, it's just like what, huh? But you have to remember. You gotta remember where we are and just gotta let it go. So, I'm gonna tell you, anybody who did not watch this live, if you're watching this during the middle of the week, you missed a really, really great chat. I'm hoping the chat transfers over into the YouTube so everyone can see it. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to make that happen. I don't think it does either. I think it just stays live. Oh, it's incredible. The conversation. The conversation just. Everything to Jumper to. Time cops, time crimes.
Everybody making fun of face.
Whoa!
Oh, he's like, oh! Hold on. Yo, okay.
They're just laughing at you, face. They're not laughing with you.
Laughing with you. So, let's.
Because I got my velvet robe on with my sexy bitch attitude on.
Oh, see, here we go. All right, so you're right.
They're gonna hunt you.
So, brother, you're right. Got to copy and paste that joint. All right, so let's go around table. Everybody give their ratings. Since Geek Soul Brothers on, let's go and do our honor, to Godfather. Cosmic Afros, guys. How many Cosmic Afros out of 5 are you giving it? King Face, what you giving Force Awakens?
2.8.
2.8. That's a man after my heart right there. 2.8. That's out of.
You gotta keep in mind. That's actually a good grade for me. That's a C+.
Wow. You're on a curve. It's a serious bell curve. 2.8.
No, it's a C+. That means you make it into you can go to college. You're good.
Okay, that's 2.8. All right. What about you, Potbelly?
I gave it 3 out of 5.
Darth Kikonius.
I don't think my commentary was enough to take away from the film overall. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
That may be a little bit slanted a little bit, maybe. No, you good with that? No reservations on that 4.
No, I mean, taking my commentary, aside, the movie was a good execution for what he was trying to do. Reinvigorate the franchise, bring back the nostalgia, introduce new characters, set up the next movie. I think he nailed all of those.
Okay. Hold on now. Now, there are slanderous remarks taking place in the comment section. Okay.
First of all, brother gave it a 4.5. He says.
First of all, the Black Geeks cannot be bought. We honestly, if you are wrong, you are wrong. Free passes, free popcorn.
Art said some of us who sold out, Art. Who sold out?
Oh my gosh!
The Black Geeks can't be bought. Who sold out?
We cannot be bought. Let me make that very, very clear.
Damn Bison said we can be bought with a free pass and 4 pieces of Popeyes.
Well, considering I'm vegetarian, obviously that can't be true.
Dark meat.
Me personally, I'm gonna give it to I like the animation a lot. I gotta give it a 2.5. Considering how much I trashed it, I gotta give it a 2.5 out of 5. I'm sorry.
Or you could have realized you're wrong after all this discussion.
Nope, I'm good. I'm sorry, because as a layperson, even if you're making this just for the average moviegoer, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make sense.
Rob,
it doesn't make sense.
You are upset.
To a Star Wars movie and say that doesn't make sense.
Rob is upset about Finn's character. That was driving 95% of his opinion of this movie.
Yes.
If he walked out that piece like Jules from Pulp Fiction, and his stormtrooper had bad methyl on it, and he basically was, the whole movie, you would have been like, this is the greatest movie ever. But the fact that there was some problems with him as a character from a strictly Afrocentric black perspective, that's why you take the whole movie. And that was some of your first comments.
Yes.
A sanitation worker?
Yes.
You were stuck on that fact.
I sure as hell was. I am not ashamed about it.
In fact, if they had not wrote that one line,
it would have gotten a 3. You're absolutely right. It would have gotten a 3.
You would have gotten
at least a 3.5. He's still mad at Blackish for that African episode. Getting back to their roots.
Oh my God! And Blackish is such a great show.
I'm not mad at them for that. I'm really not mad
at the show.
I'm honestly not mad at them.
You stopped watching at Blackish after the dashiki.
I actually did. You're right.
Exactly. It is one of the best shows on TV, actually.
Oh man.
We just watched like 5 episodes tonight, and I was dying laughing.
Yeah, see, I jumped off, but we were talking about that on the Geek Over 40 podcast yesterday. It's like they're just so many. I'm sorry, no, on Geek Soul Brothers show last night, we were talking about it, and we were saying how there's like so many different shows, you just can't watch everything. It's just too much out there. What?
Why did Bison say Big Baba Rob X cried during the Notebook?
What was the Notebook? Sorry.
Bison lying. We did not say we like Paranormal Activity. He is lying. We never said that.
Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, Bison tried to call us hypocrites. So about we like Paranormal. That's not true.
Oh, you just making stuff up now.
What the hell is this, Bison? Bison? Bruh, don't mess with me. This Notebook thing, I don't even know what this is, but I'm looking at the cover, and I'm pretty sure this isn't a movie. I wouldn't even give it a second. No, not even for
Bison better be on the next show. I know that much.
No.
He got an answer for this.
Shoot, shoot, Bison starts fires. That's what he does. That's what he does. All right.
He can't help it.
All right. So let's put it out there real quick. Are we gonna have time to do a year-end show? We got 2 more weeks left in the year, and I know people got family obligations. Are we gonna have time to do one more show this year, kind of year in review?
Yeah,
I'm here, so I'm down.
Okay, cool.
So next Sunday, our last show.
Probably because the week after that's gonna be New Year. So yeah, so we'll be back. Top 10. We need to make Barbara Rob's top 10 movie list. You don't want my top 10 movie list. Transformers, Pack Rim.
Even with Marky Mark.
Kingsman. Thank you, Kingsman, for saving my 2015 movie.
Yeah, this dude think that.
Thank you so much.
Really, yeah. Kingsman was the greatest movie this year.
Kingsman was the best movie I had.
Kingsman above Creed. How do you do that?
Because I don't think
he's seen Creed.
I haven't seen Creed right now.
Creed is definitely.
I'm gonna go see
best
Creed
movies this year.
I'm gonna go see Creed. I'm gonna go see Creed this year. I'm gonna go see Creed this week, most likely. But yes, I'm gonna go. I definitely want to go see Creed. I've heard a lot of really great things about it. But in all honesty, I had Kingsman had me dying laughing almost through the whole movie, and the action sequences were freaking awesome. So yes, and it was almost like a action comedy parody, and it was a fantastic movie.
Let's also not forget that Ant-Man was this year.
Yeah,
The Martian was this year.
Yeah,
Furious 7 was this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're all so.
Mad Max was this year.
Dude, let's not get into Mad Max.
Straight Outta Compton was this year.
That was a good movie, but still not the best.
Dope was this year.
Haven't seen
was
it.
This year. Talking about black movies, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, on my list right out the gate, Dope, Creed, definitely on that list. Definitely. Straight Outta Compton.
I think Ant-Man was better than Kingsman. Not by much. But
yeah,
because I actually liked Kingsman. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was a welcome surprise.
That church sequence is legendary. That thing. I know a lot of people might have saw, but that church sequence was just.
I just like Samuel L. Jackson as the bad guy. I think he knocked it out.
Furious 7 was good too. Let's not discount that.
What?
Mission Impossible was good too.
Mission Impossible was actually a pretty good movie. I was really surprised. Hey, we're jumping on.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just when you.
This is what we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. We're going to talk about kind of do a best of, worst of for next week. So, what? Did what come out?
Kingsman's not on this list.
Kingsman came out in February because that was the first movie I saw of the year, and it set the tone for the rest of the year.
I don't understand why it's not on this list.
Mission Impossible was pretty good. No, it was February. I'm almost dead positive it was February. Yeah, I'm with you, Geeks, brother. I thought that Samuel L. was playing a really pimped out Russell Simmons. It was, and then he threw the lisp in there, and I couldn't.
Russell Simmons.
I'll say it out of.
Because now that you said it,
I'll say it out of that.
Oh, wait a minute, is that blood?
I'll say it out of that.
Yo,
now you're touching
that. It was awesome. I mean, I was crying by the end of that movie. It was fantastic. Okay, all right. So let's get out of here, guys. It's getting late. Potbelly's already pulling out the avocado to lather up. So
keep it sexy, baby. Gotta keep
I know, man. Wait, look.
Kingsman was 2014. No wonder it's not on the list.
What are you talking about? It was February of this year.
Not
according to IMDb.
They're dead wrong. It was the first movie I saw this year.
We'll figure it out when we do when we come back next week. We'll go ahead and thank you guys for coming.
No, you're right. It came out 13.
Dude, don't send their question. I know what movie I damn saw at the beginning of this year. Telling me I wasn't going to see the movie. I was sitting in the movie theater watching the movie by my doggone self. Tell me
thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
I know what movie.
Don't forget the list.
Just because I'm geeking over 40 don't mean I lost my damn mind yet. I know what I'm talking about. I know a movie I saw. Bye, y'all.